Murdorf and the Mortal Flaw, Book 1, Chapter 11. Monguard, the Waddi. It was early afternoon when the riders reached the bottom of the mountains and the point of diversion for the two groups. Positioning their mounts in a circle, the riders drew their steel swords, pointed them towards the center of the circle, and tapped the ends of their swords. "Godspeed," they each said. Sheathing his sword, Windsor promised Gilmanza, "I will see you at the tomb of Murdorf." The two riders rode off in their separate directions, Gilmanza's group riding southeast, while Windsor's group went west. Gilmanza, Navi, and Cosby rode southeast. They crossed the stream, rode through the broadleaf forest and mountainous terrain. It was the following day that they neared the village of the Waddis. All was quiet when suddenly they heard the noise of an animal rushing towards them. Drawing their swords, they prepared to confront the beast. First a lion darted across their path, then a lean warrior on the hunt sprinted past them, leaped off of the side of a tree and sprang onto the retreating lion. Then the sound of a dying animal brought shivers down their spines. Arising from the hill stood a jet-black haired warrior wearing only a loincloth. His high cheekbones, bronze complexion, and ears that lay back on his head like leaves defined him clearly as a Waddi. He was small in stature, with lean muscles, unimpressive looking except for the carcass of a large wild cat that lay dead at his feet, a small dagger the only weapon in his hand. It was Monguard. His body was moist with sweat, where he had been running the game. His practice was to chase the game for long periods of time before the kill because he liked the chase. As an exceptionally skilled warrior, he literally sprang from the sides of the trees and pounced on his prey. Greeting Gilmanza professionally and Navi warmly, Monguard inquired into their purpose in the Waddi. "We've come to see you, crony." Monguard knew they were there for more than small talk. Navi leaned forward and whispered, "The sword of Darvan has been found." Intuition had told Monguard that training and conditioning his body was for a higher purpose than catching prey for dinner, but he had no idea it would be something of such importance. He had been compelled, like a divine initiative, to beat his body into being the best warrior. Last man standing was the warrior he trained to be. Now his instinct, the purpose for his life that he had felt in his bones since childhood, was coming to fruition, and he was about to embark upon his destiny in life. A spark of life entered his eyes, a spark that resonated with a sense of calling. "Are you asking me to ride?" Monguard asked, making an involuntary and repetitious jerking of his head, an action he had become an annoying part of his being. Some believed that this repetitious jerking was the result of an evil spirit, while others believed that he was endowed with the powers of the gods that enabled him a capacity to run, leap, and slay with superabounding ability. Nonetheless, Monguard found it a nuisance and seemed to be constantly reaching within himself to overcome this monkey on his back. He was self-conscious of the stares he received from people and found solitude to be his only remedy of escape from criticisms, mocking, superstitions, and glares. The woods have always been his safe haven, his eureka. "Yes," answered Gilmanza, "but I suggest you put on more than that loincloth." After helping Monguard haul the lion into the village and to the home of his parents, Monguard appeared wearing worn-out riding pants but no shirt. Gilmanza handed him a coat of mail. He knew the boy was not in the habit of wearing mail and assumed he probably didn't own any. He strapped on the mail at Gilmanza's urging and saddled his horse, riding bareback with a quiver and bow slung across his back and a dagger at his side. Next, Gilmanza gave him a helmet too, which Monguard looked at as though he hardly knew what to do with it. He resolved to shoving the round metal in his sack of clothing and forget about it. "Where's your sword?" asked Cosby. Monguard didn't even answer him. He was too busy fumbling with the ponderous mail. He had never worn mail before and found it cumbersome. Pawing at the metal on his chest, Monguard raised his arms this way and that, trying to see if he could make the clumsy iron more comfortable. The more he picked at it, the more his head jerked. But he never complained. Finally he spoke up. "I don't see any of you wearing this stuff." "It's not for wearing all the time. Too heavy for that. Just for when we need it. Just wanted to make sure it fits okay." Monguard was relieved and eagerly took the weighty metal off and laid it across his mount. One monkey on his back was enough.